right, guys, we're gonna go through Module 4, Lesson 25. And basically, it's just taking a whole number and dividing it by a fraction. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple of the problems and give you some examples, and I'm going to have you work on your own. So if you take a look at this one right here, okay, and your book, I mean, I know you don't have your book in front of you, but your book kind of sets it up in a nice way. So basically, we're going to take the number 4 and we're going to divide it by half. And so the way that your book does this, it's just to kind of explain it to you, is this. So first of all, how many halves are in one whole? Well, we know that there are, right, 2 halves and 1 whole. 1 half plus 1 half, that's 2 halves, is 1 whole, right? And we take that and we put it in a tape diagram. Let's just say we were going to make this 4. So this is a whole, the whole is 4, so I'm going to draw 3 lines there, okay? And which means that this piece right here is 1, right? And they want you to divide it up by a half. Well, that means that I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to divide it in half, right? So there's a half. There's 1 half and there's 2 halves, which makes 1 whole. Well, then I'm going to do that to all of the pieces like that. And now if I count up how many pieces I now have, because this is also a whole, this is also a whole, this is also a whole, that's 4. Then I'm going to count up the pieces. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 halves in 1 whole. So the answer to 4 divided by 1 half is 8. Now I'm going to show it to you in a different way, so that you can kind of see how else it looks. So here I've set it up so that we've got, whoops, let me zoom back in. Here I got it set up so we've got 3 divided by 1/4. And again, I did a tape diagram when I did 1, 2, 3, right? Because that would be 3 holes. Okay, so first of all, my question is, how many 1/4 are in 1 whole? Well, if we think about that, if we have 1 whole and we have it divided into fourths, it would be 4 fourths would make a whole, right? So 4 fourths make 1 whole. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide each of these pieces into 4 more pieces, because 4, there's 4 fourths in 1 whole. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to divide 1, 2, 3. So now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces there. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces there. Okay. Now I can just count how many little pieces I have. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So how many 1/4 are there in 3 holes? Well, there's 12. You should see some sort of pattern here. You should see some sort of multiplication pattern here. So let's look at if we have 5 divided by a half. And again, I'm asking how many halves are there in 1 whole? Well, in 1 whole, there are 2 halves, right? And so what I'm going to do is on this tape diagram is I'm going to divide each one of these pieces. Here's my 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my 5 holes. But I'm going to divide each of them in half. So I'm going to divide this one in half, divide this one in half, divide this one in half, this one in half, and this one in half. And then I'm going to say, okay, well, now how many total pieces are there? Well, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So how many halves are in 5 holes? Well, 10. And again, I'm hoping that you see some sort of pattern here with this. Let's try it again. This one I want you to do with me. So I just showed you 2 examples. I kind of showed you 3 examples. This one I want you to do with me. So we're going to take the number 3 and we're going to divide that into thirds. Okay. So you can pause the video as you go, but I want you to draw a tape diagram. Okay. And then we're gonna start with 3 because we're dividing by a third. So we're gonna start with 3. So this whole tape diagram represents 3, which means we got to draw 2 lines in it. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, if you excuse me. Now, if you think about what we asked you before was how many 1/3s in one hole? Okay, well, how many thirds are in a hole? Well, there's 3, right? 3/3 in one hole. Just like how many 1/5s are in a hole? 5. How many 1/10 are in a hole? 10. Okay, that's how many are in one hole. So we got 3/3 in one hole. Well, here's one hole. Here's 2 holes. Here's 3 holes. And what you're going to do is you're going to divide this into thirds, each piece into thirds. Okay. And so now we have successfully divided 3 by 1/3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you answer the question, number 1, how many thirds are in one hole? You're just going to count these pieces here. Okay, so that's number 1. I'm going to go back to your problem set, and you should see a pattern there. All right, so here is, let me show it to you this way. So here is some other problems that I'm going to have you do in a minute. We did this one together. And you remember that was 10, right? This one, it says divide and multiply to check. Now, this one is going to be starting with 3, right? 1, 2, 3 pieces. And then, so this is 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to divide it by half. So we're going to go And so number 2 is going to be how many halves are in 3 holes? Well, just 1. That's how you answer it. Okay. Now you should see a pattern. You should see some sort of multiplication pattern. And in case you haven't seen it, I'm going to show it to you on this one, on C. So on C, let me show you the pattern. Now, here's the deal. If we did a tape diagram for each one of these, it would take, number 1, a lot of paper. Number 2, a lot of time. And so how do we save some time? Well, you should notice a pattern here. The pattern is that whatever this whole number is times this denominator is how many pieces we have. So if I took 4 and I divided each whole by 5, 1, 2, 3, there's 5 pieces. There's 5 pieces. There's 5 pieces. And it's really hard to count. And if I count all those up, I'm going to get 20. Because 4 times 5 equals 20. Now, this is only going to work on this assignment. I'm letting you know that now. And if you take your whole number and you multiply it by your denominator, you're going to find that answer pretty easily. Okay? Now, it works because the numerator is 1. So here's what I'm going to do. This was number 2. I'm going to have this be number 3. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's all you have to do. What we're going to do is have you do that, and then the next assignment is going to be some word problems on that. Okay. Now, as always, if you have any questions, you may go ahead and ask me. You can send messages through Google Classroom, and I can answer them. But here are your 7 problems. It'll be on this form as well. Okay. All right, guys. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.